Fishing boats. Boats used for oyster fishing are often specially designed to operate effectively in the cold and icy waters of Alaska. These boats are often equipped with heating and protection systems to ensure the safety of fishermen in harsh weather conditions. Dredge. The dredge is the main tool used to harvest oysters. It is usually made of sturdy metal and has sharp rakes to easily slide across the seabed where oysters cling to rocky or sandy surfaces. The dredge can be operated manually or equipped with a mechanical pulling system to increase efficiency. Locating the harvesting area. Before starting to harvest, fishermen need to determine the exact location of oyster beds where they live and grow. This can be done by using GPS and sonar devices to survey the seabed. Dropping and pulling the dredge. Once the location has been determined, the fishermen drop the dredge to the seabed. The dredge is pulled along the seabed to collect the oysters into a net or basket attached to the boat. This process requires close control to ensure that the dredge does not get stuck or cause damage to the seabed environment. Oyster grading. Once the dredge is pulled onto the boat, the oysters are immediately inspected and graded. The large and high-quality oysters are retained, while the smaller or substandard ones are released back into the sea to continue growing. Post-harvest handling. The sorted oysters are washed to remove dirt and impurities. They are then stored in cold seawater tanks or in refrigerated compartments on the boat to keep them fresh. Extreme weather. Working at sea in Alaska, fishermen often face extreme weather, including extremely low temperatures, strong winds, and storms. This not only increases the risk of accidents, but also affects the health and spirit of the fishermen. Workplace safety. Safety is a top priority in the oyster industry. Fishermen must wear special protective clothing to protect against the cold and ensure that all equipment is properly maintained. They must also be trained in safety measures and rescue procedures in case of an accident. Regulations and licensing. Oyster fishing in Alaska is closely regulated by state agencies to ensure that it is sustainable and does not harm the marine ecosystem. Fishermen must comply with regulations regarding the size of oysters allowed to be harvested, the quantity and season of harvest. Environmental protection. An important part of sustainable management is the protection of oyster habitats. Fishermen must comply with regulations to avoid damaging the seabed and to protect other species in the harvesting area. Oyster fishing in Alaska is not only a profession but also an important tradition for coastal communities. However, this work requires a combination of specialized knowledge, practical skills and patience, along with adherence to sustainable principles to protect marine resources. Sensors and information technology. New technologies such as sensors and precision measuring devices are being applied to improve fishing efficiency. For example, sensors can measure water depth and temperature, helping fishermen determine the optimal time and place to fish. GPS and positioning systems. GPS systems and positioning technology help fishermen determine the exact location of oyster beds and monitor fishing areas to avoid wasting resources or causing environmental damage. Exports and consumption. Alaskan oysters are often exported to international markets, especially countries such as Japan and South Korea, where oysters are a popular dish. High international demand can create great profit opportunities but also means meeting high-quality standards. Prices and costs. Oyster prices can fluctuate based on seasonality, quality, and supply and demand. Fishermen and businesses need to manage operating costs, including boat maintenance, fuel, and labor costs, to maintain profitability. Restoration and conservation programs. Conservation and restoration programs are in place to ensure that oyster populations are not overharvested. This includes restocking juvenile oysters and establishing marine protected areas. Research and monitoring. Researchers and conservation organizations regularly conduct studies on oyster growth and the effects of environmental factors to develop effective management strategies. Monitoring the health of oyster populations and water quality is important to ensure sustainability. Traditions and skills. Oyster fishing is not only a profession but also an important part of Alaskan culture and tradition. Skills and knowledge of oyster fishing is often passed down through generations in coastal communities. Fishermen's lives. The lives of oyster fishermen in Alaska are often harsh, with long work schedules and difficult living conditions. However, many in this community consider it a valuable profession and closely tied to their traditional way of life. Training. To meet the demands of the oyster fishery, fishermen need extensive training in fishing techniques, equipment maintenance, and safety management. Specialized training programs and workshops can help improve skills and knowledge. Career development. In addition to oyster fishing, many fishermen and businesses are also looking for opportunities to expand their operations, such as engaging in marine tourism or developing oyster-based products. Oyster fishing in Alaska is not only highly technical, but also requires a combination of environmental, economic, and cultural factors. The challenges and opportunities in this industry need to be managed skillfully to ensure sustainable development and protect precious marine resources. Seawater temperature. Climate change leads to changes in seawater temperature, which can affect oyster growth. Warmer seas can reduce the quality and quantity of oysters, affecting harvesting operations and productivity. Ocean acidification. Increased atmospheric CO2 levels also lead to ocean acidification, which affects the ability of oysters and other marine animals to form shells. This can reduce oyster survival and requires management measures to minimize the impact. Size and quantity regulations. Strict regulations on the minimum size and quantity of oysters allowed to be harvested are intended to prevent overharvesting and ensure the recovery of oyster populations. Regulators regularly review and update regulations based on scientific data. Permits and management. To harvest oysters, fishermen must have a valid permit and comply with local and federal regulations. Management programs often include monitoring fishing activity and taking action against violations. Industry associations. Industry organizations and associations, such as the Alaska Fishermen's Association or the Alaska Oyster Association, play an important role in representing fishermen's interests, promoting policy, and providing technical and financial assistance. Collaboration and information sharing. Fishers often cooperate to share information about fishing conditions, fishing areas, and best practices. Sharing information can help improve efficiency and protect shared resources. Ecosystem protection. Oyster fishing can have impacts on seafloor ecosystems, including disturbance of other organisms and habitat. Protective measures, such as establishing protected areas and mitigating impacts, are used to minimize these impacts. Restoration and regeneration. Restoration and regeneration programs may include seeding oysters, restoring damaged habitats, and conducting research projects to improve the health of marine ecosystems. Innovation in technology. New technologies such as automated fishing systems and advanced sensors are opening up opportunities to improve efficiency and reduce environmental impacts. Technology also helps in monitoring and analyzing data, thereby improving harvesting strategies. Research and development. Studies on oyster ecology, farming techniques, and sustainable harvesting methods can lead to improvements in the oyster industry. Research and development projects can help increase understanding of factors affecting oysters and develop more efficient harvesting methods. The Alaska oyster fishery is not only a major industry but also involves many different factors from the environment, politics, to society. A thorough understanding of these aspects is necessary to manage and develop the oyster fishery sustainably and effectively. Training programs. Many organizations provide specialized training courses for fishermen in fishing techniques, equipment maintenance, and safety management. This training not only helps to improve skills but also updates new methods and technologies. Workshops and training. Regular workshops and training sessions are held to update information on new regulations, scientific research, and sustainable fishing methods. This is also an opportunity for fishermen to exchange experiences and improve skills. Resource management. Resource management agencies, such as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service (FWS), implement resource management programs to ensure that oyster harvests occur sustainably. Policies include controlling the quantity, size, and timing of harvests, reporting and monitoring. Fishers are required to report their harvests and follow monitoring procedures to ensure compliance. Management organizations regularly inspect and monitor operations to prevent illegal harvesting. Community engagement. The oyster industry plays an important role in the lives of coastal communities in Alaska. It not only provides jobs but is also an integral part of local culture and traditions. Community events and social activities related to the oyster fishery help maintain and develop social relationships. Support. And benefits. Fishers often receive support from community organizations and local governments, including financial assistance, healthcare services, and social welfare programs. Advanced technology. Developments in technology, such as remote monitoring and positioning systems, help improve harvest efficiency and reduce risks. New technologies also assist in monitoring environmental conditions and the health of oyster populations. Cultivation techniques. Research and innovation in oyster farming techniques can help increase production and reduce dependence on wild harvest. Oyster farming can provide a sustainable supply and reduce pressure on wild oyster populations. Challenges. The oyster industry faces many challenges, including climate change, overfishing pressure, and the need to protect the environment. These challenges require creative solutions and collaboration among stakeholders. Opportunities. There are many opportunities to develop a sustainable oyster industry, such as developing consumer markets, improving harvesting and farming technologies, and enhancing conservation programs. Innovation and collaboration can help the industry adapt to change. Changes and continue to grow. Fishermen's health. Working at sea can take a toll on fishermen's health, including physical and mental health issues due to harsh working conditions. Health and safety measures are important to minimize risks and ensure the health of workers. Oyster products. Oysters are a nutritious food source, but it is also important to ensure that oysters are harvested and handled properly to avoid food hygiene and health issues. Strict quality and food safety inspection procedures must be maintained.